It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, gonna rock and roll. Riding on the highway, going to a show. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, getting boned, getting high, getting shook. I tell you folks, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's easy to do one night stands. Try being a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and welcome back to another installment of the 2007 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series as we take to Bristol. It's the Madhouse, race number 22 of 36 for the Sharpie 500. Under the lights for some crazy action here on a Saturday night as we get started here from the Coca-Cola Cup Series. Take you to the racetrack right away for your starting lineup. As on the pole tonight, Tony Stewart in the 42 car, second consecutive pole. He starts from first today, and Clint Boyer in the 4, a surprise second place qualifying for the 4 team. They start in P2. John Andretti will be in the 3rd spot in the 21 machine, and Casey Kane in 4th. Juan Pablo Montoya will be in the 5th spot, and Kurt Busch in 6th. Bobby Labonte will be in 7th place. 8th place goes to Ryan Newman. 9th will be Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Robbie Gordon rounds out the top 10. 11th, it'll be Brad Keselowski in the 2 car. J.J. Yaley in 12th. Morgan Shepherd, a fantastic qualifying from the 89 team. They start 13th, and Jamie McMurray will be in P number 14. Carl Edwards will be in 15th place, and Martin Truex Jr. in the 16th position. Jack Sprague for Furniture Row will be in the 17th position, and 18th goes to Ricky Hendricks, number 5. DJ Kennington, the points leader, he'll be in 19th, and Matt Kenseth rounds out the top 20 in the 17 car. Kyle Busch will be in 21st, with Casey Mears to his outside in 22nd place. 23rd, that'll be Marcos Ambrose, and Elliott Sadler starts in the 24th position. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, teammates, 25th and 26th. Jeremy Mayfield will be P27, and it's the 23 Dodge of Scott Wimmer in 28th. 29th goes to Jeff Burton, and TJ Bell will be in the 30th position. Brian Vickers, P31, and Scott Riggs in the 32nd spot. Todd Bodine will be in P33, and Greg Biffle 34th. Kevin Harvick will be 35th. Eric Norris in the 36th spot. 37th, that'll be Scott Steckley in the 6th car, and Justin Allgaier in the 02 in 38th. Johnny Sauter, 08 team, they're 39th. 40th is going to be Jason Leffler's 00. And rounding out the field in the back row will be Jacques Villeneuve in the 49 car in 41st, and Casey Atwood in the 42nd position. 42 car field, as always, here tonight from Bristol. It's one of the craziest shows of the season. We take you to the trackside for the most famous words in motorsports, the command here from Bristol.
Drivers, start your engines.
Field roars to life. Going to be a quick pace lap here from Bristol. 150 lapper here tonight as Stewart and Clint Boyer are going to lead everybody off. Bristol, usually a chaotic show. A lot of cautions in the Busch race on Sunday. It's going to be a fun one here tonight to see who survives to get the Bristol win here tonight.
Yeah, Bristol's always been a very chaotic track for these drivers to try and tackle. a lot of times you see some contact in the middle of the corner that can last all the way through the corner. So car control going to be as important as ever. And also something important to mention about Bristol is the 2 separate pit roads on each straightaway of this racetrack. It makes pitting a lot more convoluted for these guys because it's something that they don't have to do anywhere else. It really makes things a little bit harder to strategize. We'll see how these teams tackle it.
Pace car in on the left. Stewart and Clint Boyer the front row as we go green. It's Bristol. The Sharpie 500 is underway. First lap completed as Stewart rockets away from the rest of the field. They went side by side for second as Andretti's number 21 car here. Strong a couple times at this racetrack before. Off to a great start here tonight. He sits in second as we get things sorted out here in the first couple of laps. See 3 wide back there as Kane stuck up on the outside. Dale Jr.'s number 88 machine on the bottom.
The front few have started to pull away, but still very, very tight throughout the rest of the field. This racetrack lap times are short, but tempers are even shorter. So you're going to have to try to keep the fenders on this thing if you want a chance to win this race.
Dale Jr. clears Labonte. That is for the 5th position as everybody getting sorted out. Stewart off to a very good start from the lead, pulled away from Andretti just a little bit with these two getting sorted out. Andretti and Boyer behind him, and Montoya also well clear the rest of the field in 4th. So those guys got away from everybody else. Dale Jr. obviously rounding out the top 5. JJ Yaley, nice start for the 10 car. I believe that'll be P7 for the PPC machine, and that is correct. So Yaley in 7th. 8th belongs to Casey Kane. 9th is going to be Ryan Newman, and Brad Keselowski's number 2 car now rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, and I think JJ Yaley deserves a lot of credit for how well that he's done in his rookie season. Not a name that really anybody was talking about before the season, but we've definitely seen some flashes out of him in that 10 team, running up towards the front and competing with some of these guys. So maybe that 10 team can get their cars faster. JJ Yaley seems to be a very, very capable driver.
Having a fantastic rookie campaign, sitting P7 as we continue up front. Not a lot of battles up front at the moment. First group side by side is Edwards and Morgan Shepherd as the 19 clears him for the 13th position around the outside. Great start for this 89. Family-owned team. Morgan Shepherd having another really good run from that 89 car. We've seen him in the top 10 even at points over the course of this season. Couple of flashy runs from the 89, but another good start from Morgan Shepherd, who has kind of been a qualifying guy over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, and for Morgan, the question of talent has never been there. I mean, multi-time Cup winner in the past, very, very good at Atlanta when that was still on the schedule, but Morgan, he's getting older, but seems like that speed is still there, especially over a couple of laps. But that 89 team really has shown a lot more promise than a lot of were expecting, as we saw some smoke there on the front straightaway as I was saying that. Not sure exactly where it came from.
Incident on the front involving 26 TJ Bell went around on the front stretch, and this is surely going to result in the first caution tonight. Looks like he got help from the 57 of Riggs. Yes, he did. Pretty hard hit
Does get
there.
help and takes a major look into the inside wall with that driver's side. Is going to drive away and make it to pit road, but the caution will be displayed for the first time tonight. It's going to bunch these guys right back up. Tony Stewart's lead now erased to John Andretti in the second spot.
Caution flag out for the first time here tonight as the field's going to have to get sorted out here as Stewart ran into the back of the traffic there. Big queue behind the pace car trying to get sorted out here as these guys are tail end of the lead lap, going to have to go around the pace car here. But Stewart kind of caught napping there and ran into the stack up in turn 1. See if the front of that race car is okay. Bit of a blunder from the from the 42 team there.
It appears to look okay for that 42. Doesn't look like the damage is too severe, but Tony definitely got away with one there if that's the case, because he slammed into the back of those guys pretty hard.
We're going to see the field come in for their first round of pit stops here during the early yellow as Stewart brings it in with the rest of the field in tow. Going to see a lot of pit stops here as pretty much everybody is going to be bringing it down pit road. Stewart leading the field in. Lap number 15 here for the race leader. Will be 16 when he crosses this time. Everybody's still on the lead lap. Stewart and Andretti the top two, and the pole sitter led all the early laps here. Tony Stewart going to bring it into his pit box here. See if we maybe get a little bit of split strategy here. Looking like 4 tires for the majority, if not the entirety of the field. As Jimmy Johnson, one of the cars that is going to have to get waved around into this yellow, goes around there. And Stewart, 4 tires and fuel for the race leader. And a bit of a long hold for traffic here for all of this top group. And it's going to be Juan Pablo Montoya who wins the race off of pit road.
Montoya Jr. are going to leave the pit road first. But unfortunate for the 42, who appears is still trying to get off of pit road. My goodness. Disaster for the 42 team.
Absolutely. But we take it to intermission here from Bristol. Lap number 16 at the moment for the race leaders. And we will be right back. It's a Sharpie 500 here on NASCAR on ESPN. Back from intermission here at Bristol as we get set to go green. Juan Pablo Montoya in the 84 taking away the lead under the pit cycles there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will restart in the second position. Clint Boyer in third. John Andretti leaves pit road in fourth. And Kurt Busch rounds out the top 5. A little bit of a shakeup as Stewart, probably a little bit of damage repairs on that 42, drops to 9th. Going to be restarting on lap number 21 off of turn 4 here.
See how Montoya can get away here You know, we've said it a few times throughout the season. I don't know if there is a track on the schedule more different than Bristol from what he was running in Formula One, but really, throughout the season, hasn't seemed to matter. Montoya seems to have gotten the hang of these ovals pretty quickly, and is now leading this race here at Bristol as Dale Jr. hounds that back bumper.
Back underway as everybody gets back up to speed and gets heat in the tires. Montoya clear from the lead. First battle as Stewart, bad news for the 42 team, manages to stay clear of Carl Edwards, who is trying to challenge him for 9th. As we get back underway, rest of the top 10 all single file. Montoya starting to pull a little bit on the 88 car for the lead.
And for Dale Jr., it is confirmed that he will be returning to that 88 car for the foreseeable future, and in his own words, it was just nice to have his future secured. He loves that Yates team, he loves the direction that they're headed, and although he hasn't grabbed a win for them yet, the speed has been there, and it feels like only a matter of time for those guys.
It's been one of the best seasons of his young career this year. Just sans that win that he's been looking for since 2002. No, we mention it a lot, but he is a talented enough man to get it done. Sitting in the second position right now. Clint Boyer, another good run out of that 4 car. We mentioned him a couple times this year. Sitting in the third position. Obviously mentioned that he got that outside pole. Started in the second position, dropped to third on the start. But having a good early race so far. Again, early pace isn't exactly a sign of what's to come at Bristol, but good start for that 4 car and another appearance in the top 5 for Clint Boyer in his young career.
Yeah, the 4 team has struggled a little bit this year. Morgan McClure, after it looked like a really, really big step up as of last season, maybe has struggled to come to grips with this new generation of car, but the flashes have been there. As Andretti gets moved up the racetrack by Kurt Busch, he decided he didn't want to stick behind him anymore.
Oh, on a Kurt Busch, already a couple wins this year, most recent at the Brickyard underneath of Andretti, the very man that he took that win from, take away a spot from the 21, who now falls into grips with the 10 of JJ Yaley, who looks to take a top 5 spot in this race, and he isn't quite clear yet. Couple of Fords still side by side, but into turn 1 this time, JJ Yaley into the top 5 in the 10 car.
An excellent run for JJ Yaley so far today. Probably the best run he's had all season, and he's had quite a few. Just cannot say enough good things about this kid. He has came into this car with very little expectations and has blown any of them out of the water.
P5 for the Wendy's 10 as this race continues. Montoya still managing the gap well to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number 88, and Boyer not quite going away from the back of that Hard Rock Ford. 32 laps completed this time by here at Bristol. These things go by fast, but there's a reason there's so many of them. As a top 10 still mostly single file, it's Edwards in the 19, sitting in the 9th position, and P10 now belongs to Jeremy Mayfield. And the first side-by-side battle back here, Scott Steckley's number 6 just moved past Jeff Gordon for a top 15 spot. Another part-time start for Steckley in the Roush 6. Having himself a pretty solid run here at Bristol.
Yeah, Steckley's definitely an interesting case. He's ran pretty well in the Busch Series sparingly, but hasn't really gotten to run a whole lot in Cup. If you remember back all the way to the Daytona 500, was leading the race. Had a problem up there up front and didn't end up getting the finish that he deserved. But in spurts, Steckley has shown some very promising pace with these guys.
Sitting in the 15th position right now in front of Cup champion Jeff Gordon. 36 is the lap count now, 37 as Montoya comes across. First lap traffic coming up in a little while for the 84, as they are not too terribly far up in front of him now, and he is catching up to these guys who are still stuck side by side quick. Last place car on the racetrack right now is Ricky Hendrick's number 5. Casey Mears also having a rough run right now as Montoya has caught the lap traffic.
Montoya has to find a way to negotiate these guys while they're side by side so he can keep that gap to the 88 of Dale Jr. Has to get off the gas there. Definitely bleeding a lot of time to these guys behind him.
And this is where you're going to see the money is made at Bristol with all the lap traffic. They get single file out in front of him now, but not without losing a lot of time to Dale Jr. It's real costly for your pace to be side by side at this track, and you saw it there with how quick he caught up to the guys who were side by side at the back of the field. Dale Jr. is bearing down on this 84, looking for an opportunity to try and steal that race lead.
Hey, you just gotta try to poke your nose down there when the 84 doesn't expect it. You're just kind of feeling each other out right now, seeing where the weaknesses are and seeing where you can get your car to turn better in the center of the corner. Bristol is all about exit speed, carrying it down those short straightaways and trying to get down into the corners as best as you can. But when you're stuck behind traffic, it definitely does minimize the options that you have.
Montoya down to the bottom. Clint Boyer's number 4 moves underneath of Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the second position behind him, as we're a couple cars deep, double file now. And Boyer pulls right up to the back bumper. Kurt Busch and J.J. Yaley and even Andretti have now joined this party as the lap traffic starts to play tight as they go 3 wide back there. Shepard all the way up the racetrack. J.J. Yaley is going to end up stuck on the bottom with the 2 lap cars to his outside. But he moves past without an issue and gains another spot. Dale Jr. drops out of the top 5 as he's really stuck behind these guys on the outside. His teammate Ryan Newman, in fact, is going to move past him. Tony Stewart making some headway since losing spots on pit road as well.
Yeah, I do believe that 42 might have the fastest car on the racetrack, just doesn't have the track position to show for it anymore. It'd be interesting to see maybe if we get some cautions down the road, if he's able to work his way back up into that fight for the lead, because I think that 42, they've got a lot of momentum right now as a team, and they seem to have brought a very good piece tonight.
Boyer on the outside got stuck here as he lost a spot to Kurt Busch. Would like to look back and see what happened here with the 01 making a move on Boyer for the second spot while they were backed up behind the race leader Montoya. Was it another bumper from the 01? Maybe a little bit of door-to-door contact really got aggressive, forcing him up the hill. And J.J. Yaley moves up another position as well thanks to that. Number 10 in P3. Easily the best run of Yaley's season so far.
Yeah, just cannot say good enough things about that 10 car. They've done a great job today and a great job all season. Maybe you haven't had some of the finishes to show for it, but definitely the speed is there as Montoya gets checked up and subsequently Kurt Busch gets checked up, and now the top 5 are under a blanket down here on the bottom.
Montoya gets clear of the 78. That's Sprague on the outside, and Boyer ends up trapped behind again as he gets stuck on the outside for a second time. So Montoya, Kurt Busch, J.J. Yaley, now 4th belonging to the 21 of John Andretti. And Ryan Newman looking for a way to get into the top 5 underneath of that 4 car. And Sprague gets taken 3 wide by Clint Boyer. That was a gutsy move by the Fastenal Chevrolet, and these guys are all bunched up for this 5th position. But Newman's going to clear him for it. Stewart up another place as well. He moves up into 6th. Kurt Busch and J.J. Yaley dueling for the 2nd spot. And Yaley takes that spot away from the 01 car.
So you know what, that 10 car seems to be moving right now. If you were to get the lead of this race, I'm not so sure any of these guys can pass him right now. He is absolutely flying through this field.
Couple lap cars in front. That's the 51 of Eric Norris, the 08 of, that is Johnny Sauter, if I am not mistaken. That would be correct. And Jacques Villeneuve's number 49 up in front of the race leader Montoya. A lot of lap traffic here. Yaley took a look.
He's gonna take a look.
Couldn't quite get
Not
there.
quite.
But he made the challenge for it. Montoya a little bit sideways there, and Kurt Busch is going to show the nose on J.J. Yaley, trying to retake that 2nd position. Elbows are out now, and he retakes the runner-up spot from the 10 car.
Yaley gonna try to get down here, but gonna get taken to the inside by Ricky Hendrick, and now it looks like that 10 car gonna bleed some spots as John Andretti is gonna join the battle here as well.
Yaley, an aggressive block, tried to get in front of the 21, couldn't do it. So Andretti back down underneath. Couple of lap cars side by side in front of the 10 and the 21. Hendrick's 5 and Sauter's 08. And contact as Sauter tried to get down in front of the 21 of Andretti. That was very nearly disastrous. Managed to hold on to it. little bit of a dent on the left rear of the 08 thanks to Andretti. Bit of an aggressive move from the lap car Sauter there, but Andretti slips on through and he now has P3. And fourth now belonging to Ryan Newman. Stewart trying to re-enter the top 5 as well. And he does exactly that. So Stewart rejoins the top 5. Meanwhile, up front, lap cars side by side in front of Montoya. Kurt Busch giving a little look here towards turn 3. Little bit of a bumper. Montoya holds the bus on the bottom.
Tell you what, Kurt Busch is not shy about using that bumper of his Charger to try to get what he wants. Used it a couple times today. Looks like he might try and show the nose this time under Montoya. He's gonna get there. And
got into him! Montoya's in the inside wall and he spins! Caution flag comes out as Montoya's into the outside wall.
I'm not sure Montoya's gonna be very happy about that one. They had gotten stacked up. Kurt Busch showed the nose, or there wasn't really a hole to do so. And just slight contact sends Montoya spinning into the inside wall.
Under caution here at Bristol as we go to yellow flag, and let's get a look at that incident off of turn 4 with Kurt Busch and Juan Pablo Montoya, the 2 race leaders. That was not pretty, folks.
Yeah, looks like Montoya had to check up for the 49, who he just... And, man... Just some contact to the left rear there for Montoya. Spins him into the inside wall. That seemed to be pretty avoidable.
I wouldn't doubt it was unintentional, but definitely not a great look for Kurt Busch, who got into that 84 car there for the race lead. He now has the race lead as we take pit stops here. Under yellow flag for the second time tonight. Very long green flag run there from about lap 20 until lap 65. But Kurt Busch leads the field down pit road. And into his box. So pit stops taking place. Lap cars still on the track, going to be taking their pit stops in just a moment. That was Jason Leffler, a couple of cars who had to pit in early, leaving pit road. 4 tires and fuel for Tony Stewart and everybody else here. And looking like a little bit of a holdup. See if any of those cars are lead lap. They are not. But who is going to win the race off of pit road is the 38 of Ryan Newman. So he takes away the lead. We'll take it to intermission here from Bristol. It's the 38 of Ryan Newman in first. Lap number 67 at the moment. We'll be right back here from the Sharpie 500. It's NASCAR on ESPN. Back from intermission here at Bristol as we get set to go green this next time by. Ryan Newman, winner off of pit road. He'll be in first. Second place is going to be John Andretti in the 21. Kevin Harvick finds his way into the top 5. He'll be third. Todd Bodine in fourth. And Scott Steckley's number 6 rounds out the top 5. A lot of shakeup in the running order as we get set to go green here. That pit stop really shook things up.
Yeah, but one of the constant names up at the front of this field is John Andretti. Hasn't really had anything going awry for him yet, just does not grab the lead himself, but has been a constant fixture up at the top of this field today. The 21 has some history being very good here at Bristol. Could this be the day for John Andretti?
Pace car into the restart box. Green flag is out. Great start for the 21. Not going to find a way to get underneath of Ryan Newman, but we are underway once again. And issues for the 5 of Ricky Hendrick. Just said he had a brake issue over the radio, and he brings it to pit road. Track stays green. Couple of cars getting some extra service as well. We are up to speed now. Newman off to a great start from first. And Todd Bodine might have just given a bit of bumper to Kevin Harvick there. Another driver who seems to always be competitive at this racetrack. Todd Bodine, another top 5 Bristol run going at the moment.
And how about Scott Steckley having a very, very good run up here in the top 5?
Yeah, with a great position, good track position thanks to the pit stop. Couldn't quite get underneath a Harvick for 4th. But got his teammate a couple spots back. Greg Biffle in 7th. Jimmy Johnson has also joined the top 10. 8th belongs to Elliott Sadler. 9th is Brian Vickers. And Jeff Gordon now rounds out the top 10 in the 24 car.
Newman holds service over the lead as Andretti trying to gain what he can back. But Newman's car looks to be really, really good here in clean air. Andretti and Bodine trying to play chase, but I think it's going to take some lap traffic to get them back into this battle.
Speaking of,
they might have found it right there.
Who just rejoined the racetrack. And actually, going to take a moment here because there's some damage on the 19 of Carl Edwards. Not sure where that came from. I think that was way earlier on. Yeah, this is before that last caution. There was an incident somewhere else on the racetrack. I think these guys got the wall. Yes, they did. So this was Mayfield, who seems to have misjudged with Edwards, and they got into the wall. The racetrack stayed green since they both kept it going, but that was an earlier incident with those two. So worth logging that, as they both were drivers in the pit lane after the drop of the green flag getting damage repairs, and they joined the racetrack, at least Edwards did, amidst the top 10. Meanwhile, Boyer really getting in the way of the 21 of Andretti as they're side by side for the second position, and Todd Bodine is going to take away this spot.
Boyer really trying to block both lanes here. He had moved up in front of Andretti, and Andretti lost a couple spots. It looks like Bodine finally going to get underneath him here.
Ooh,
but he gets on the apron as the caution is out.
Caution flag flies. McMurray, Sprague, and the 89 of Shepard, and we're under caution again. Oh, and McMurray just got into the race leader, Newman.
McMurray runs into the 38 hard. Gonna have to see what the back end looks like. Definitely some damage for the 38. My goodness.
So we are under caution again. Get a look back at the incident that just took place. Might have occurred in front. Yes, it did. It was Keselowski and Sprague, and man, that's a hard hit.
Yeah, got into Norris really, really hard. Norris was able to drive away, but
Here's the
a major, major hit.
Ran out of patience for the lap car Sprague and sent the 78 around. Man, that is a hard hit.
Very hard hit. About as hard as you can hit here at Bristol. That was kind of the same situation of what we saw with Kurt Busch and Montoya, that Keselowski had kind of shoved his nose in there to try and make a position there, although the pass wasn't for a position. And just slight contact sent the 78 around into the inside wall.
Excuse me, just taking some notes here. But as we take this caution flag, Ryan Newman, the race leader. Lucky Dog will be the 08 of Johnny Sato. See if anybody decides to pit here. Looking like Newman is going to, and the rest of the lead lap cars are going to come right on down pit road.
Now, it'll be interesting to see for Ryan Newman how long his damage repair will take if they do decide to fully repair it.
Was also going to mention before the caution came out that Andretti appeared to have sustained some damage on pit road as well. Had a little bit of a dent in the back of his car as well. Ryan Newman leading everybody down, and we'll see if he retains the lead off of pit road. The man who's led the field into the pits every single caution flag so far has not been the man to win the race off of pit road. So we'll see if the lead changes hands again here as Newman brings it in for tires and fuel. And he is actually going to take fuel only, so looking like Newman is going to win the race off of pit road here. As the lap cars, a couple of them coming down pit road, a couple will not. So Newman leads everybody off of pit road, and Harvick just blew up.
Blown a motor.
Coming out of that 20 car, and he was second off of the pits, and it's looking like it's going to be a retirement from this race for Harvick. So that'll promote Greg Biffle's 16 into the second position. Take it intermission here from Bristol under our third caution of the night. Ryan Newman still in the race lead. We'll be right back. It's the Sharpie 500 here on NASCAR and ESPN. Back from intermission here at Bristol as we get set to go green. Kurt Busch, number 01, going to have the race lead as he stayed out under that yellow flag, going to be starting in the lead. Got a couple of lap car buffers, Atwood and Hendrick, in between him and Ryan Newman, who won the race off of pit road. He'll sit in second. Third place, that'll be Greg Biffle's number 16, Jeff Gordon in the fourth spot in the 24, and Todd Bodine going to round out the top five as we get set to go here. Advantageous spot for Kurt Busch. Nobody on pit road took tires. It was all fuel-only stops for the race leaders, so Busch into the lead on the same tires as the guys behind him here, and he's got lap traffic in between him and the 38 of Newman.
Yeah, definitely I would say the right call for this 0-1 team. We'll see how well he's able to get away, provided this 38 struggles a little bit in the traffic like we've seen today. But this racetrack's pretty short. Won't take long for them to all catch some more traffic again.
Green flag flies. Not a good start for Atwood, who was second in line there, as Busch gets a great jump from the lead. Couple of cars leaving pit road with the damage. Obviously, McMurray's damaged race car getting back on the track right next to Jeff Gordon. But he gets back on the track. Man, Line way up the hill there. And McMurray actually going to come in for more damage repairs. Guess they weren't done with that thing yet, so he comes in again. And Newman got stuck up on the outside there as Greg Biffle moves underneath of him. Still side by side for the second spot here. And Jeff Gordon taking it 3 wide up the middle. An aggressive move. But Biffle clears the both of them on the bottom.
And Bodine going to try to follow Greg Biffle through here for the third spot. But up the road, Kurt Busch with a monster start. It has pulled away from these guys.
Busch out in the lead, got a big gap to the lap cars behind and even further to second place, now belonging to the 16 of Biffle. Bodine in third, Newman taking away fourth. Jeff Gordon drops to fifth, got both of his teammates behind him. That is Brian Vickers and Jimmy Johnson, trying to take away some spots from him as he's trapped on the outside lane here. See Eric Norris with a damaged race car rejoining the racetrack down there on the bottom. 3 wide further back, Jason Leffler. On the bottom side of 3 wide with Elliott Sadler and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Some more 3 wide behind. You see Casey Mears on the bottom there. And seems like the damage is going to be unfixable for the 51 as Norris will retire from the race. Same for McMurray. So those two are going to call it quits. Kurt Busch, comfortable lead. Long way to lap traffic. Lap traffic a little more strung out now thanks to some of the damaged race cars on the racetrack, but Busch has a pretty comfortable buffer to the 16 of Greg Biffle in second position.
Man, Biffle's not really drawing any closer to the lap cars in front of him. So Kurt Busch really just logging laps at the moment, and laps don't take very long to get around here. So the laps just continue to tick away in this race. And we'll see as the laps wind down who has the fastest car, who can come up and challenge this 0-1, if anybody can challenge this 0-1.
Worth mentioning, though, of course, as we mentioned, Kurt Busch, the only lead lap car to stay out under that last yellow. The yellow before that was the last time he came in for fuel, was about lap 65, I believe it was. The fuel run here is about 90 laps as Atwood trying to get his lap back. I think he got into the back of the 0-1 just a little bit there, but Busch holds him off. But Busch is going to maybe be a little tight on fuel. That is why everyone came in and didn't take any tires. It was all fuel top-offs for everybody. Not a lot of laps on those tires. But seeming like that's the case, and they are racing for the... This is actually not even for the Lucky Dog spot, as these two are on separate laps, but Ricky Hendrick trying to get first dibs at getting a lap back with Kurt Busch. Meanwhile, Biffle seems a little bit faster than that 0-1, has caught up to these two in between him and the race leader.
Yeah, but the problem is he has to try and get around these two while they're battling, and that might cost him more time than he's even really able to gain.
50 laps to go and counting as we are inside the final third of this race. Biffle trying to find a way around Ricky Hendrick's number 5 first, who is on the outside of Atwood, these two side by side, and Biffle is going to get underneath of him in turn 2. So 1 down for Biffle, 1 to go. Still got to get up to the back bumper of Kurt Busch as well. Bodine joins the picture right behind the 16. Other lap traffic, the damaged race car still on the track, on the horizon for Kurt Busch. First entrant is Carl Edwards in the number 19. He's really been struggling for pace with all the damage on his race car. Busch closing in a hurry to put him down a lap. and he will move underneath of the 19 in turn 3. Meanwhile, Bodine takes care of Ricky Hendrick. Clear sailing again for Bodine up to the back bumper of Biffle, as Atwood pulls up behind Carl Edwards as well. And Biffle gonna get opportunistic here. Got into the side of Atwood's rear bumper, trying to get aggressive. Knows he needs to chase down that 01. And Biffle throwing the nose underneath of Atwood. But Casey is gonna hold him off on the top side.
And not only hold him off, but gap him as well. That was a major run out of the corner for Casey Atwood on the top lane.
That is the most advantageous spot for the top side. We've seen it a lot today. Turn 4 really likes to help you if you're on the outside. Can clear if you're in a battle up there. A lot of clean track still for Kurt Busch. Biffle underneath and past Carl Edwards. Lap car is the number 19. But Busch has a pretty big gap thanks to the holdup behind the 30 and the 19 for Biffle. Gained all that time he lost back. Biffle's got a lot of headway to make, and he is running out of laps to do it. It's not without the chance of a yellow flag, of course. It is Bristol, but it is a tall mountain to climb for that 16 car right now.
Yeah, but I can tell you Kurt Busch definitely does not want to see that caution if it were to fly, considering the trend of leaders on pit road today. And then definitely they would all have to take tires at that point. Kurt could be tight on fuel, so we'll see what that holds in the future. Now Kurt's starting to catch some more lap traffic, gonna try to make some headway on Morgan Shepherd. He's not quite able to get underneath him there.
Biffle kind of in a sandwich right now as well, but between the 5 and the 30. It's Ricky Hendrick still right on his back bumper. Ryan Newman has taken away the 3rd spot from Todd Bodine, continuing his climb back forwards. Jeff Gordon in the 5th position, rounding out the top 5. Laps continuing to wind away. Kurt Busch gets past Shepherd. Biffle just seeming like that pace is kind of plateaued for this 16 car a little bit. Might have pushed it a little too hard too early, I would have to imagine.
Yeah, I think he saw that gap starting to get bigger and bigger. Felt like he had to close it right then, right there, and just he had burned the tires out of it. And it definitely doesn't help being in the dirty air of lap traffic here, but just really hasn't been able to make any headway on the 30 of Atwood.
Has not gotten past the lap car Atwood nor gained time on Kurt Busch, who he was a lot closer to a handful of laps ago. Busch approaching the heavier lap traffic in the next couple of laps, running out of laps in this race. This next time by, it'll be 30 laps to go for Kurt Busch. But I gotta tell you, if there's one car that Kurt Busch probably does not want to see out of his window in the future, would be Juan Pablo Montoya, who is considerably up the road. At least I think. Is he even still in this race is the question. I believe they might have actually retired that car. And the answer is yes, actually. So, excuse me, Montoya is out of this race. Maybe a little bit happier trails for the 01 of Kurt Busch, knowing that he's not on the racetrack, but he has caught some more lap traffic here. Got Sprague's number 78 right in front of him. A little bit of contact up the road in front. I think Tony Stewart, no, excuse me, was further up than that. It was actually Andretti and Brad Keselowski who was already involved in an incident today. Man, Andretti threw a pretty aggressive block on Brad Keselowski. There was for 22nd. And Keselowski said no thank you.
And now he's going to take it 3 wide there with Truex and Robbie Gordon. Very nearly contact again between those two.
Bit of aggressive racing back here, as it is going to be called a day for Carl Edwards as well, who is pretty significantly off the pace here today. With all that damage on his race car, Kurt Busch got past that 78 a couple of laps ago, trying to make room and get past Sauter. As Edwards pulls off the racetrack. Busch.
Kurt has definitely done a great job here in lap traffic today. A lot better than the 16 behind him. Has been able to make a lot of ground on these guys and really has been able to help him extend his lead.
Trying to find a way around Sauter's number 08, being a little patient with the fellow Dodge at the moment. Biffle getting underneath of Shepard, the 89 car, trying to gain some time back. Kurt Busch just a little bit larger out of his windshield thanks to all the traffic. So this thing not quite over yet, but we're getting to the end of it. Inside 25 to go, gonna be 20 to go in just a couple of laps, as Busch is really working hard on this 08 right now.
Casey Atwood has actually started gaining on Kurt Busch here. It is worth mentioning he isn't on the right lap, but 30 car might not be as slow as we thought. Maybe the 16 really wasn't able to pass him because of the speed in that 30 car.
Ricky Hendrick just made an aggressive move to get back underneath of the 16 of Biffle, as they're really getting kind of tight up in front of him. I'm sure Biffle really didn't like that, considering that now he's lost a lot of time as a result, and that was just when Kurt Busch broke free of the 08. So it is 4 consecutive lap cars in between him and the race leader, Kurt Busch, inside 20 to go.
At the moment, Kurt Busch has smooth sailing ahead of him, so I mean, that may not be a death blow, but it's certainly knocking on that door.
Issues for the 02 car. No tire down. Actually, might have a tire down. Yes, he does, and he's going to bring it to pit road. Looking like he got out of traffic's way pretty quick here. So, racetrack is going to stay green as he brings it into the pits. Sure, Kurt Busch is going to breathe a sigh of relief that Allgaier did make it back to the pit lane there. 16 laps to go is the count here from Bristol as Kurt Busch is starting to scoot away.
16 laps at Bristol really is not that long, as Kurt really just has to focus on looking out of his windshield. There's nothing behind him it's very threatening at the moment. Just has to try and get through this lap traffic, the minimal lap traffic, as best he can. He should be home free here, provided a caution does not come out.
Biffle just out of reach in the second position. Third place now belongs to Jeff Gordon as they have continued to fight for the last couple spots in the top 5. Jimmy Johnson is 4th. Bodine in the 5th position. Ryan Newman is in 6th. 7th belongs to Scott Wimmer. 8th is Brian Vickers. 9th is going to be Marcos Ambrose, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. rounds out the top 10. As this race continues to wind away, I think there might have been a little bit of debris there on the front stretch. Yes, there was. Seeming like contact for the 6 of Steckley. Yes, got into the outside wall, and it was help from the 55 of Casey Mears. That was for the 12th position. And in fact, I think Mears might have gotten hit. No, he did not. That was not contact from Elliott Sadler, so Mears got into the 6th, and the caution flag is out! Jeremy Mayfield!
As that changes everything.
Tony Stewart involved in it as well, one of the championship contenders. And we are under caution again. Get a look at it. I think it was Stewart. Yeah, got into Riggs there. Well, actually, that was not the cause of incident. It was Mayfield, the checkup, and man, Stewart up onto his side.
Yeah, Stewart almost up and over there in turn 3. Roof facing towards the wall is a major hit for Tony Stewart.
And that... And Kurt Busch is out of fuel and down pit road. Actually, everybody's coming down pit road. Actually, never mind. We got a couple cars staying out, and Jimmy Johnson is going to stay out to take the race lead. And everything flipped on its head. Kurt Busch not going to be able to make it on fuel, nor is the rest of the top 5, sans the 48. Busch in for fuel and fuel alone. And Jimmy Johnson is going to stay out to take the race lead. Bodine will be in the 2nd position.
Unbelievable turn of events here late in the going. Jimmy Johnson inherits the race lead after a bit of lucky circumstances, but sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. And right now, 48 has a very good shot of winning this race.
Take it an intermission here from Bristol. It's going to be towards the final 5 laps of this race. NASCAR on ESPN. It's the Sharpie 500 here from Bristol Motor Speedway. Back from intermission here at Bristol as we get set to go green with 6 laps to go at the line. Jimmy Johnson, the 48, is going to restart in the race lead. We'll see if the top group have enough fuel to make it to the end here. He starts in first. Second place, in between the lap car of Sprague, Todd Bodine going to be in second. Third place, that'll be Ryan Newman's number 38. Scott Wimmer in fourth, and Marcos Ambrose rounds out the top 5. And Jimmy Johnson finds himself in the lead late here at Bristol. Pace car in, headed to the restart box. Lowe's 48 takes the field to the green, and we're back underway.
Bodine going to try to make quick work of Sprague, has to back off. And Jimmy Johnson going to get that gap that he needs. We'll see if Bodine can make a move here on Sprague.
Oh, he got into him.
He's going to put him in the wall.
Sprague up into the fence. Keeps it out of harm's way. 5 laps to go, but Jimmy Johnson's got a sizable gap. The question is if the top group have enough fuel to make it to the end. He should be able to. 4 laps left.
Yeah, that is a lot of ground to have to make up. If you are Todd Bodine, and I just don't think there's enough time for him, Jimmy Johnson, provided he has enough fuel, should be home free here.
Couple of cars down pit road. 89 was in the pits. 2 to go for Jimmy Johnson, trying to hang on to this thing. Bodine gave it an effort towards the end of this thing, but he has ran out of time and track. Last lap here at Bristol as Jimmy Johnson finds himself in the perfect spot at the end of this race. Got just half a lap to go, and out of turn 4 this time, he is gonna pull it off. Jimmy Johnson steals one here at Bristol for his second win of 2007. Todd Bodine comes up just short in second, Wimmer third, Newman fourth, and fifth goes to Brian Vickers.
An unbelievable ending to this race. We didn't talk about Jimmy Johnson being in contention for the win all day long, inherits the lead late, and has enough speed to hold him off to the checkered flag.
48 is your winner. It was a crazy one. Not in the usual Bristol sense, but a crazy one nonetheless. And Jimmy Johnson is going to take the win here tonight. His second win of 2007. That will do it for coverage here from the Sharpie 500 as Jimmy Johnson is your winner. Next time out, it'll be race number 23 as the Cup Series Garage heads to Darlington for the Mellow Yellow Southern 500. But on behalf of Nate joining me in the booth here tonight, I've been your host, Caden Reif. It's been a pleasure to have you along as always. We'll see you next time, and have yourself a good one.